Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Gangurde, Assistant Professor of Zoology, KTHM College Nasik. Students, today I am going to introduce with the new chapter Inflammation. In that topic such as the causes of inflammation, cardinals or signs of inflammation, then vascular and cellular response, as well as the types of inflammation, that is acute and chronic type of inflammation. So we'll discuss all the points one by one. So let us discuss regarding first the inflammation. So its definition and causes. Now here the inflammation, which is defined as the local response of living mammalian tissue to injury due to any agent. So this is the inflammation. It is a body defense reaction in order to eliminate or limit the spread of injurious agent as well as to remove the consequent necrosed cells and tissue. Okay, this is what about the definition of inflammation and the causes. Now here we can discuss the agents or the causes of inflammation one by one. So the causes such as including the physical agents, chemical agents, infective agents as well as immunological agents. So the physical agents, which include here like the heat, then cold, radiation and mechanical trauma. Okay, these factors they comes or these agents they comes under the physical agents, or these are the agents they causing the inflammation. Now after that the chemical agents such as organic and inorganic poison. Okay, organic and inorganic poison. After that the third, that is infective agent. The infective agents and their toxins like form in the form of bacteria or the viruses. Okay, the toxin which is formed from the bacteria or either from the viruses. Okay, after that the immunological agents, which includes the cell mediated and antigen antibody reaction. Okay, now these are the causes of inflammation. Now here we can see the signs and cardinals of inflammation. Here the Roman writer Celsus in 1st century named the famous four cardinals signs of inflammations such as the rubor, it is nothing but the redness, then tumor which is nothing but the swelling, then calor which is the heat, and here the dolor. Okay, dolor which is mean by the pain. It is dolor actually, not dolor, it is dolor. So it is dolor which is mean by the pain. So this, okay, the fifth sign which is the loss of function, that is a lysa. Okay, lysa which is the fifth sign of inflammation, or what we say is that the functio lysa, or what we say is that the loss of function. Okay, now here the word inflammation means the burning. This nomenclature had its origin in old times, but now we know that burning is only one of the signs of inflammation. Okay, or this is the sign. Okay, this is the sign of inflammation. Now here we have the different types of inflammation, acute as well as chronic type of inflammation. So here the types of inflammation which include acute as well as chronic. Now here the acute inflammation, which is of short duration and represent the early body reaction and is usually followed by repair, followed by the process of repair. Okay, now the chronic inflammation which is of longer duration and occurs either after the causative agents of acute inflammation persists for a long period of time, or the stimulus which is such that which induces the chronic inflammation from the beginning. Okay, in short what we say is that the chronic inflammation means which is from longer period of time. Okay, acute means which is the sudden. Okay, now here the acute inflammation, again we shows the vascular events and cellular events. like that of the chronic inflammation, which shows the non-specific response or either specific response. Okay, so we can discuss all the points one by one. Now first come to the acute inflammation or its vascular events. Now here the acute inflammation, in that here the changes in acute inflammation which can be conveniently described as a vascular or cellular event. Now here the vascular event, particularly what it includes, the hemodynamic changes. Okay. Now here the alteration in the microvascular, it includes the arterioles, capillaries and venules. Okay. This collectively what we say is that the microvascular alteration in the microvascular, which is the earliest response to the tissue injury. Now these alterations include hemodynamic changes and changes in vascular permeability. Now the hemodynamic changes, here the earliest features of inflammatory response which results from changes in the vascular flow and calibre of small blood vessels in the injured tissue. Here the sequence of these changes, which is like this, that is transient vasoconstriction, then persistent progressive vasodilation, local hydrostatic pressure, slowing or stasis, then leukocytic margination. Now here the hemodynamic changes. Actually, what are the hemodynamic changes? Here the irrespective of the type of injury, that is immediate vascular response, which is of transient vasoconstriction of arterioles. Okay. So changes, okay, hemodynamic. So after the vascular event of acute inflammation, means what? Here changing, okay, changes takes place in vascular flow and the small blood vessels, okay, if the injury takes place. So this is what the changes in the hemodynamics. Okay. So we have the different hemodynamic changes such as the transient vasoconstriction here, which include irrespective the type of injury, immediate vascular response, which is of transient vasoconstrictions of arterioles. So such a vessels, okay, they get constrict, that is vasoconstriction. With mild form of injury, the blood flow may be re-established in 3 to 5 seconds, while with more severe injury, the vasoconstriction may last for about 5 minutes. Okay. So if the injury takes place, then what happens? Such a vessels, okay, they get constrict. If the injury which is small, then the vessels which get contract with up to small duration, that is 3 to 5 seconds, and if the injury is more, that time such a constriction which lasts for up to the 5 minutes. This is the transient vasoconstriction. Now after that, the next follow, that is persistent progressive vasodilation. Okay, the persistent progressive vasodilation, which involves mainly the arterioles, but to a lesser extent, okay, to a less amount or extent, which affects other components of the microcirculation like venules and capillaries. Okay, this change is obvious within half an hour of the injury. So what happens? The persistent, okay, constant, progressive vasodilation. Such a vessels, they get dilated, okay, vasodilation, which involves mainly, okay, the dilation of what? Arterioles, okay, but not a lesser extent, okay, which affects the other components of the microcirculation like venules and capillaries. Okay. Now such a vasodilation which is for short duration and not more. Why? Because they affects to the microcirculation of venules as well as capillaries. Now this change is obvious within half an hour of injury. Such a vasodilation results in increased blood volume in microvascular bed of the area, okay, which is responsible for redness and warmth at the site of acute inflammation. Okay, so after the injury, after some time, we can observe the redness. Okay, the area of such an injured region, we show the redness. So this is what the vasodilation results in increased blood volume in microvascular bed of the area, which is responsible for redness and warmth at the site of acute inflammation. Why? This is because of the process of vasodilation. Okay, now this is the second step of hemodynamic change. Now it is followed by the third step, that is local hydrostatic pressure. Now here the local in this progressive in this step, the progressive vasodilation, which is in turn may elevate or increase the local hydrostatic pressure, which resulting in transduction of fluid into the extracellular space. Here, this is responsible for swelling at the local site of acute inflammation. Okay, at the injured region, you observe that the local inflammation or the swelling is there. This is due to the hydrostatic pressure. How it is here? Such a vasodilation, which elevate the local hydrostatic pressure and which resulting into the transudation of fluid into the extracellular space. Okay, and this condition which is responsible for the process of swelling at the local site of acute inflammation. Okay, now this is the third step. Now it is followed by slowing or stasis. Okay, slowing or stasis of microcirculation occurs to the next step is what? The slowing or stasis of microcirculation. Means what? Microcirculation, which includes the vessels and capillaries. So here, which slows down. The slowing or stasis of the microcirculation occurs the next. Now slowing is attributed to increase the permeability of microvasculature. That results is increase the concentration of RBCs and which raise the blood viscosity. Okay, in previous process what happens? The vasoconstriction takes place. Okay, now after that, the second step, which is a progressive dilation of such a capillaries and microcirculation, which include capillaries or vessels. Okay, now third step is what? Which maintains the hydrostatic pressure, or which elevate the such a blood flow, right? Now the fourth step is what? After that, which slows or stasis, which slows down the microcirculation. In that case, increase the concentration of RBCs and such a blood viscosity. Due to this, the blood viscosity which get increased. Now after that, the last step is the leukocytic margination. Here, stasis or slowing, which is followed by the leukocytic margination or peripheral orientation of leukocyte or leukocyte, particularly the neutrophil cells. Okay, now along the vascular endothelium. Now the fifth step is what? The leukocytic margination. So, or the peripheral orientation of the leukocyte, or mainly leukocyte white blood cells. Leukocytes are the white blood cells, particularly the neutrophils. Okay, here they get oriented at the peripheral region of the injured site along the vascular endothelium. Okay, now the leukocytes stick to the vascular endothelium and then move and migrate through the gaps between the endothelial cells into the extravascular space. Okay, this process is known as the immigration. Okay, this process which is known as the immigration. Now here, the features of hemodynamic changes in the inflammation, they are best demonstrated by the Lewis experiment. Okay, now here the Lewis experiment which shows, the Lewis which induce the changes in the skin of inner aspect of forearm by a firm stroking with the blunt point, which make the cut to the forearm region. Okay, now and here the reaction shows that a triple response or red line response which constituting the step. Okay, so here the Lewis experiment which shows that the Lewis which first make the cut at the forearm region, and it shows, okay, the line of redness, and along with that, okay, here which shows the red line response or triple response. The responses such as, the first is what? Redine, okay, redine which appears within a few seconds, or not redine, it is actually a red line, okay, red line which appears within a few seconds following stroking and result from local vasodilation of capillaries and veins. Okay, so after making the incision or making the cut to the forearm region, the first what it shows, the red line shows, and the red line what it indicates, okay, is such a red line which appears within a few seconds, which follows the stroking and results from local vasodilation. Okay, here the vasodilation of capillaries and veins. Now after that, the flare. Flare is a bright reddish appearance or flush surrounding the red line and results from vasodilation of the adjacent arteries. Okay, now after that, the third step is the wheal. Wheal is the swelling or oedema of the surrounding skin occurring due to the transudation of fluid into the extravascular space. Okay, now these features, okay, they shows the classical sign of inflammation, the signs such as redness, heat, swelling and pain. Okay, now this is what about the Lewis experiment. Now then come to the pathogenicity. Pathogenicity of such a inflammation. Here the pathogenesis which includes the appearance of inflammatory oedema, which is due to increased vascular permeability of microvascular bed, and which is explained on the basis of Stirling's hypothesis. Okay, before that I already discussed regarding the Lewis experiment. Okay, now after that, here the pathogenesis which shows what? Here the permeability of microvascular bed which is explained, okay, or increased vascular permeability of microvascular bed which is explained on the basis of Stirling's hypothesis. So here it mentioned in normal stage the fluid is maintained by two opposing sets of forces. Okay, the Stirling hypothesis here it shows that in normal stage the fluid is maintained by two opposing sets of forces, and here you can see the first step. Here the forces that causes outward movement of fluid from microcirculation are intravascular hypostatic pressure and osmotic pressure of interstitial fluid. Okay, here you can see in the diagram also. Okay, now this Stirling hypothesis, where the first step is what? Forces. Okay, you can focus on this A diagram. Suppose this is the lymphatic outflow, these are the tissues, okay, and here the venous end. Okay, now here you can see this is the venous end and this is the arterial end, right? And here this is in case of normal fluid exchange. Okay, now here in this first step, the forces that causes outward movement of fluid from microcirculation, okay, from microcirculation are intravascular hydrostatic pressure. Okay, so intravascular hydrostatic pressure and osmotic pressure of interstitial fluid. Okay, or the osmotic pressure of the interstitial fluid. Now this is the first step, and in the second step, here forces that causes, okay, inward movement. Okay, forces that causes, okay, here you can see these arrows, the inward movement, here you can see outward movement. So here forces that causes inward movement of the interstitial fluid into circulation are intravascular osmotic pressure, and here you can see osmotic pressure and hydrostatic pressure of interstitial fluid. Okay, so this is explained at the acute inflammation stage. Okay, here the inward movement of the interstitial fluid into the circulation, and here you can see the outward movement of such a fluid from microcirculation. Okay, so this is at the normal condition, this is at the acute inflammation stage. This is the Stirling hypothesis. Okay, so here whatever the fluid which is left in the interstitial compartment, okay, so which is drained away by lymphatics. Okay, whatever the fluid which is remain, okay, here the odema means, okay, this is the region. Okay, so whatever the little fluid is left in the interstitial compartment which is drained away by lymphatics, and no odema results. Okay, no odema results normally, and here in this condition, okay, so here whatever the little fluid which is remain or left in the interstitial compartment which is drained away by the lymphatics, okay, and there is no odema, and which results normal. Okay, but in case of inflamed, okay, now in inflamed tissue, okay, in inflamed tissue, here the endothelial lining of microvascular which become more leaky. Okay, which become, here you can see the endothelial lining which become more leaky, which consequently here the intravascular osmotic pressure decreases, and the osmotic pressure of the interstitial fluid increases, resulting in the excessive outward flow of fluid into the interstitial compartment, which is exudative inflammatory odema. Okay, so here outflow of such a fluid which cause the odema. Okay, now this is what the Stirling's hypothesis. After that we can see mechanism of increased vascular permeability. So the mechanism of increased vascular permeability, here the in acute inflammation, normally non-permeable endothelial layer of microvascular becomes leaky. Okay, here you can see this is the endothelial layer normally which is not leaky, right? So at the acute inflammation stage, the layer of endothelium which become leaky. Okay, so here in acute inflammation, normally non-permeable endothelial layer of the microvascular which becomes leaky. So this is explained by one or more mechanism. Okay, the mechanism such as contraction of endothelial cell, then retraction of endothelial cell, then direct injury to the endothelial cell, or either endothelial injury mediated by leukocytes or by means of other mechanism. So we can see all the events one by one, okay, which can cause the endothelial layer leaky. Okay, now here the contraction of endothelial cells, which includes the most common, this is the most common mechanism of increased leakiness which affects the venules exclusively, while as the capillaries and arterioles they remain unaffected. Okay, so what happens here? Here such a venules they become exclusively leaky, but the capillaries and arteriole they remain unaffected. Now the endothelial cells develop temporarily gaps between them due to their contraction, resulting in vascular leakiness. Okay, again you can see here the vascular leakiness is there, right? Now it is mediated by the release of histamine, then bradykinin and other chemical mediators, right? Now the response which begins immediately after injury and is usually reversible and which is for short duration, and such a response which lasts for near about 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, now after that the retraction of endothelial cells. Retraction of endothelial cell or this mechanism where there is a structural reorganization of the cytoskeleton of endothelial cells that causes reversible retraction at the intercellular junction. Okay, now this change to affects the venules means which affects the venules as well as mediated, okay, such a changes which mediated by cytokines such as interleukin 1 and the tumor necrosis factor. Okay, now the retraction of endothelial cell, which is the another mechanism. In this mechanism, what happens? There is a structural reorganization of cytoskeleton of endothelial cells that causes reversible retraction at the intercellular junction. Okay, now this change affects the venules and which again affects or which is mediated by the cytokinin. Such a change, okay, which get affected and such a change which is due to what? By the cytokines. The cytokines such as interleukin 1 and the tumor necrosis factor. Okay, now here the onset of response which takes 4 to 6 hours after injury and which lasts for 2 to 4 hours or more. Okay, means such a response, okay, such a response which develops which takes near about 4 to 6 hours after injury and such a response which lasts, okay, near about 2 to 4 hours or more, okay, depending on the injury. Now, the example of this type of response which exists in vitro experimental condition. Okay, now this is what you have to remember, the retraction of endothelial cell. Okay, now the another mechanism, that is direct injury to endothelial cells. Here the direct injury to endothelium causes cell necrosis and appearance of physical gaps at the sites of detached endothelial cells. What it is? The direct injury in this condition, okay, direct injury to the endothelium which causes cell necrosis, okay. So necrosis is a programmed cell death. So cell necrosis and appearance of physical gaps at the site of detached endothelial cell. Okay, now the process of thrombosis. Thrombosis means the blood clotting. So the process of thrombosis is initiated at the site of damaged endothelial cells. Okay, now the change, okay, the first what happens to that injured region, okay, programmed cell death takes place or the cells they get cells, okay, they shows here the shows the process of necrosis means the programmed cell death, and after that such a gaps, okay, the gaps they created at that site, okay, such a gaps they get detached or the physical gaps here they get detached the endothelial cells. Now after that the process of thrombosis or the blood clotting which takes place or which initiated at the site of endothelial cells or damaged endothelial cells. Now the change which affects all levels of microvascular, okay, such a change which affect all levels of vasculature, okay, microvasculature which includes again the venules, capillaries as well as arterioles. So such a changes which takes place at the capillary region, at the venule region or at the arteriole region. Okay, now here such a response, okay, here increase the permeability and may either appear immediately after the injury and which lasts for several hours or days. Okay, this response which increase the permeability and which may appear immediately after the injury and which lasts for at least, okay, several hours to several days. Okay, now or which may occur after a delay of 2 to 12 hours and last for so many hours or either days. Okay, so here the example. Okay, this is what about the direct injury to endothelial cell. After that, the endothelial injury mediated by leukocyte, which includes the adherence of leukocyte to the endothelium at the site of inflammation. Okay, attachment of WBC's leukocyte to the endothelium at the site of inflammation, and which results in the activation of leukocytes. Okay, here the activated leukocytes release the proteolytic enzymes and toxic oxygen species, which may cause the endothelial injury and increased vascular leakiness. Now, this form of increased vascular leakiness is a late response. Okay, here this is what about the endothelial injury mediated by leukocytes. So, leukocytes, okay, they are the scavenger cells. They release some sort of toxins or the enzyme, okay, and cause the here which increase the vascular leakiness. Okay, so this is what about the endothelial injury. After that, the other mechanism which includes here a newly formed capillaries during the process of repair, they are exclusively or excessively leaky. Now, the vesicles and vacuoles within the cytoplasm of endothelial cells of blood vessels in tumor, which may account for leakage of fluid across the cytoplasm. So, other mechanisms, okay, other mechanisms which includes here the newly formed capillaries. Such capillaries they form during the process of repair, okay, and such a capillaries they are excessively leaky. Such a capillaries, okay, such a newly formed capillaries they form at the time of repair, and such a capillaries they are, okay, exclusively, or what we say is that not exclusively but excessively they are leaky. Now, this is what about the other mechanism, and this is regarding the mechanism of increased vascular permeability. Now, in next lecture, okay, we'll discuss regarding the cellular events, okay, cellular events as well as okay, cellular events such as the exudation of leukocyte and process of phagocytosis. Okay,